Have you ever dreamed you walked down some imagined corridor, a labyrinth of elusive fantasy, each with one part of the combination, known only to himself? And perhaps you go inside. Gold, the thread from which we weave our dreams, the key to stability. Here they are, the bricks with which to build a solid house, a vision of gold. And then, perhaps, you leave the treasure house and the dream is ended. Fantasy or reality? Often difficult to separate, for reality is born of dreams. They had dreams too, those first pioneers who came to the South African Highveld. They came with a vision, not of gold, but of a new nation. They trekked northwards to build for themselves the sort of life they wanted, and they didn't know that beneath the hooves of their cattle and the wheels of their wagons was the world's richest gold field. They had more lasting values. They sought reality, not fantasy. But there were others who followed a safe few paces behind. Not for them the urge to settle, to build. They dreamed of easy wealth. 49ers from California, diggers from Australia, adventurers from everywhere and nowhere. They came to South Africa. Men like George Walker, who crossed the Highveld on foot, and at Witwatersrand Ridge, the only place where the buried reef touched the surface, stumbled and fell. And in that moment saw his dreams come true as he kicked open the door to the greatest treasure house the world has ever known. The cry was gold. And from all over the world, in Britain, Germany, France, Russia, from the American far west, from Bulgaria, Latvia, Bosnia, and who knows where, the whole high-spirited ram-dazzle of professional diggerdom, the dreamers, set sail for their last great rallying point on the face of the earth. A wave of opportunists, of romantics, journeyed to a tent and tin shanty nowhere on the rim of the Golden Reef. Digging, sifting, panning, spurred on by the promise of wealth that might be theirs, unaware that they were only scratching the surface of the mightiest gold reef the world had ever known. But the dream of untold wealth wasn't the only one. Even more fantastic things were attempted. A great technical age was dawning. The world was fired with a new spirit of discovery. There was a glut of inventiveness. The internal combustion engine, the radio, the phonograph. The world didn't know if it was coming or going. The age of the one-horse prospector was well and truly over. So along came a new kind of dreamer to follow the gold deeper into the earth, bringing with them their steam engines, compressors, crushers, building their mines and their baronial mansions. They moved in and pitched their tents 4 stories high. And what a history of bargaining as they maneuvered until every known corner of the reef was in their grasp. They cleared the rocks and thorn trees on the rugged Highveld, creating unbelievable islands of opulence amid the dust and bustle of the mining camps. A gentle game of badminton at the weekend. A quiet soiree at home with a trio of imported maiden aunts. A trip overseas back to some mother country to one of those fashionable watering places. Or a parade of the latest fashions at the races. But could this carefree world last? Could the gold last? For the time came when they said the reef was dead, played out. At first it had been so easy, mining near the surface. But to follow the gold further into the earth, that meant getting down to depths which had never been mined before. It couldn't be done. But remember the year, 1903. In America, fantasy wasn't the only thing which took flight. They were reaching for the stars, and anything seemed possible in this new technical age. Why not chase the gold further and further into the earth? And they did. That was the spirit of the 10s and 20s, when the nation builders and the seekers after gold and fantasy joined hands and got a young country on the move. The tempo is quickening. Dreams become reality as the wheels of progress gather momentum and 100 components of prosperity spring up alongside gold. Suddenly, the Depression, worldwide. Wherever you looked in the 30s, it was the same. Men were taken by surprise. The fabric of prosperity was gone, and the spinners of dreams all over the world now wore the dark cloth of despair. In South Africa, years of hope were shattered, for here, even the land conspired. At a time when the earth had failed, when money was meaningless, when values were broken and realities disappeared, only fantasy somehow stood firm, the fantasy of gold. Catalyst which created a foundation of prosperity in a world of want, hurtling South Africa onwards through the hard days that lay ahead and beyond. The reef, as the years went passing, tapped at 2,000 feet, 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 11,214 feet, over 2 miles down, the greatest depth in the history of world mining. Thousands of tons of earth, torn from the depths, crushed, sifted, melted, and refined to gold. The golden elements of fantasy were taken to build a reality, an economy which has established its reliance on many cornerstones besides gold. They've gone, those old days. Life is scattered into 100 directions, into new areas of hope and personal endeavor. Avenues of human experience crossed and clashed in a frenzied moment of modern time. And the reef in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, in the dreams that lie ahead, step away softly to the future. Take the dawn flight across the reef. Soar above the mountains of dust created by man's determination to make a reality of a dream. Wing 200 miles across the known stretch of the world's mightiest gold field, developed and built by South Africans. Pass over the cities which have sprung up in a mere 80 years, and over the tent and tin shanty nowhere which they had called Johannesburg. Wing onwards. Cover all that South Africa has achieved, underground and above, in the thrust forward which made a vision of gold become a reality.